Noninkables. Hello and welcome back to the Noninkables podcast. I am back from my trip to Disneyland. It was super fun. I did not get the Belk promo card. I went and asked one of the cast members working there, and he literally told me, he was like, no, that was last week, and we are all out. There are no more cards available. We searched the whole country. I was like, wow, okay, dramatic. But I did make kind of a Lorcana related purchase. I bought a necklace. It's a popsicle. I got this at Pandora, and the chain is adjustable, which I didn't even know they made these. So you can adjust the chain to have the necklace be however long you want. I was looking at the charm bracelets, and I feel bad because many years ago, I would say maybe 10 years ago, one time I went to China, and one of my cousin's friends asked me, hey, what do you think about these Pandora charm bracelets? And I was like, oh, the only people I know who have them are like middle-aged women. This is when I was like in my 20s. Now I am one of those middle-aged women. And every time I see her, my cousin's friend, she's like, remember when you told me that my bracelet was for old ladies? And I was like, yeah, I do. So for a long time, I was like, I'm not going to buy Pandora. And then I was like looking at their charms. I almost was like, oh, I want to buy this Chippendale one. But they made a Chippendale charm where Dale's nose is not red, which is like the whole way you tell Chippendale apart. I mean, also like the shape of the noses, but that's like his distinguishing feature, and they didn't do it. And I was like, that's dumb. And so I looked at all of them. Every single thing I think I saw in the store, I was like, why isn't it dainty? Why is it so clunky? And then we were leaving, and I was like, let me just look at this little case. And then I saw the popsicle, and it reminded me of my poor blue-red deck and my blue steel deck. And so I had to get it. So hopefully this will bring me luck with this Set Champs season, which is now insane how fast it crept up on me. I didn't even realize it was like this weekend until probably yesterday, and I was like, oh, I need to sign up for Set Champs. And so I went into PlayHub and tried to sign up, and then apparently past me already did it. So I already signed up for a bunch. I think the only ones I didn't sign up for were the ones posted yet. So I went back through and signed up for those. And then luckily, Chris had messaged me about playing at VPC, because theirs, I don't think, is in PlayHub yet. Maybe it's in PlayHub, and I was like, oh yeah, I am going to sign up for that one. Thanks for reminding me. So currently we are signed up for this Saturday, nothing, because the only one that was up is like in San Jose, which technically is not that much. It's not like super far from us distance-wise, but feels far because it's South Bay. And because of traffic, sometimes is far. So the only real one I'm signed up for is Game of Concord this Sunday. And then next weekend, we're going to do DVY on Sunday. And then, wait, hold up. I wrote DVY twice. That's not correct. Let's see. No, next Sunday is DVY. And then this following weekend, we're going to do a two-header. So we're going to do Games of Martinez. And then that's Saturday, followed by VPC on Sunday. So we're doing a total of 4 Set Champs, and then after that is DLC Milwaukee. Also, that crept up on me. Did not realize it was already time. So after I had a little panic attack, not really panic attack, after I had a little like, oh my gosh, Set Champs is now. And then Brian was like, so what deck are you going to play? And I was like, I don't know. And so yesterday I finally decided on a deck. I'm going to play Purple Steel. Okay. A little bit about how I came to that decision. So this past weekend, there were a bunch of big competitions. So there were CCQs, I think there was like 2 CCQs, there was a 5K, and there were like a lot of big events, right? So there was no one clear best deck. So Amber Steel won one, Purple Steel won a CCQ, Blurple won a CCQ, Green Blue won one, and Amber Green won an event, right? The dogs version with like tramps and ladies. And so I was like, okay, I'll just pick one of those. So I know that I don't want to play, I think I just don't like Amber. I think when I first started Lorcana, in theory, I was like, oh, this is so cool. They have like a lot of bodyguards, a lot of support. I like that. They have singers, but there's no good songs now to sing except for maybe Strength. And so I feel like I've developed an aversion to Amber. And so I knew I didn't want to play Amber Steel. Also, I've tried playing Amber Steel before, And my problem with Amber Steel is if I don't win my turn 5, I don't know how to play the deck. And I know that I think it's a skill issue for me because I always feel like I end up in a situation where I'm top decking as Amber Steel, which is not great. And you really want to be able to like put lethal on the board and tell them like deal with it. But I feel like I'm never quite there. And I feel like when I play Amber Steel, once I get past like turn 5, I just feel so helpless and I don't like that feeling. And I think for Amber Emerald, that deck, I feel like you need a lot of patience because I feel like when I've seen people do well with that deck, they really like wait and they don't do anything until they have like a lot of pieces on the board and then they like quest twice and then they win, right? And I don't have that patience. I feel like my personality, I want to attack. Like I love rush. I miss all my foxes and like when we could play foxes and snakes, I didn't like snakes because they didn't have rush. And so I love playing characters with rush. I love drawing cards. I love challenging. I love attacking. So, which is I'm not a huge fan of Amber. I don't think I have the patience. And when we were playing red blue last set, I feel like it was very clear that red blue was like very strong and like stronger than the other decks by a lot. And ways to deal with aggro. So like when I was playing DKP's Sharks, I just teched in Brawl because I knew there would be a lot of aggro. And honestly, that those Brawls saved me to get rid of like Vinnies and Piglets and that kind of stuff. And then it also had a way to like claw back with Pirate's Life. And I feel like this set is not, you don't have that because you also don't have like the reset button of B prep, right? So I did consider playing green blue because it has the only like mass board removal as with Under the Sea. And then if you like pair it with, what is it, hands held high, heads held high? I think heads held high. Then you can effectively play a one-sided B prep. But I do feel like that deck requires a lot of practice. And still, I don't know, I don't know. I think part of it is like all the removal now is in blue and like Hades and stuff, and I don't like ramping my opponent. I don't like them getting any benefit to my removal. So I did think about green blue briefly, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to play green blue, I might as well play Blurple, right? Because it has more card draw and better cards. However, I am still scarred from my experience at Dallas with Blurple and missing turn 2 ramp. I think that I have truly been cursed by Gary, and I did. Okay, so yesterday when I was trying to decide on a deck, I did give it another chance. And I tried to run the Blurple that has 9 2-cost ramp cards. So it has the 4 sails, the 4 T-pos, and then 1 copy of One Jump Ahead. And I was like, there's no way I'm missing ramp, right? First game, I get my 7 cards, no ramp. I mulligan 7, no ramp. And then I don't see a ramp card until I have 9 ink. So and like all the while, I think I played at least 1 genie, maybe did a Dumbo genie to draw another card. Like I've gone through basically half of my deck before I see a ramp card. And I was like, okay. So the curse lives on. And of course I was playing against another Blurple deck. And I realized this is a very small N of 1 game, but it did remind me of how awful it feels to play Blurple and you miss ramp. And for some reason, it feels so much worse than when we were playing red-blue. Because I feel like with red-blue, if I missed ramp, then I could at least brawl, you know? And in this case, I guess I could Into the Unknown. But then you ramp your opponent, which is like adding insult to injury. I feel like because you didn't ramp, and then you're ramping your opponent. I hate it. So that was enough to, I feel like, trigger flashbacks to, not Dallas, sorry, Denver, of missing ramp. And I was like, okay, I don't want to play Blurple. So pretty much all that's left is Purple Steel. And so that's how I came to the decision to play Purple Steel. Also, I feel like, okay, so in all the past sets, Tyler has always said like Purple Steel is a very fair deck, meaning you have to skill gap your opponent. So you have to be good. And it teaches you a lot of the foundations, I feel like, of TCG. His words, not mine. And I feel like now is the time because meta, I mean, after Denver, I truly was like, I don't know if I want to keep playing Lorcana. Not like for reals, like I was gonna quit, but just like I don't want to play right now because I was so frustrated with one missing ramp like half of the time or even 30% of the time, and then just feeling like totally helpless. And like my opponent playing three Tianas. And it felt almost back to like when it was Bucky and you had no cards and your opponent had all the cards and you're like, okay, cool, you just play whatever. I guess I'll try to ink to 7 in top deck. Something cool. It feels kind of like that. And then, of course, I had the same feeling when I tried to play Bucky. I was like, let me join the dark side and play Bucky. And I would try to play Bucky and I would never get the combo. Like I would not see Bucky, or I would see Bucky and not see Diablo Shift, you know? And so it seems like my opponents always have the perfect cards and bad luck. So also kind of my hesitation to play Amber Steel, because I feel like when I play Amber Steel, I'm like, are there Nalas in my deck? Are there any Daisies? Because it feels like there's not. And I feel like sometimes I would mulligan a little aggressively, and then I would not have a 1-drop as Amber Steel for like 2 turns, which is insane. And so I feel like for me, this set is the set where I'm going to, one, put in more work and really work on my foundations and just suck it up and play Purple Steel. Not so much in like suck it up to know that if I don't do well with Purple Steel, it may just be that I need more practice, and it's not from like the deck not decking, which is sometimes how I feel with Blurple. So also the other thing is like committing to a deck, because I feel like I switch decks a lot. Basically, I will play a deck until I start to lose, and then I will quit and play a different deck. So I'm going to try to tough it out this time and play Purple Steel. Okay, so one of the other reasons why I want to play Purple Steel is because I really hate losing to Amber Steel, especially in our local area, because Amber Steel is like, it's the deck that like the kids play, and they always trash talk me. I feel like the kids are out to get me because they always trash talk me a lot, and I feel like I'm being targeted. I mean, rightfully so. I did push like 2 of them out of top 8 last set and 1 of them out of top 4. And so I feel like it's a righteous anger that they have towards me, but I do feel targeted by Amber Steel. And I feel like it's also the deck that newbies tend to play because you just put cards down and turn sideways. And I don't think that Amber Steel is that easy of a deck, because if you don't get the right card, putting cards down, turning sideways does not work, as I have tried when I play Amber Steel. I do think that there is like actually a very high ceiling in terms of skill of how to play Amber Steel, but it just feels worse when you lose to someone who's like, oh, I just learned to play Lorcana today. And you're like, I lost to someone who doesn't even know all the mechanics of Lorcana. That just feels bad. And so like I deeply feel in my soul that I don't want to lose to Amber Steel. And I feel like Purple Steel can take Amber Steel. That is a good matchup for Purple Steel. I also just really like purple cards. I like drawing lots of cards. I like questing for 2. And so I'm trying to find a Purple Steel deck that I like. As always, when I play either Purple Steel or Purple, I go to JDRR's Flower Farm. I will put a link down below. So JDRR has a set 9 guide for both Purple Steel and Blurple, and it's free, which is awesome. And he has like the core part of the deck, so like what he considers to be core cards, so cards that you would include in every Purple Steel deck. And then there are like tech cards based on either your play style or what you think the meta will be. So like cards you put in if you think you would see less of Sapphire decks, like Blurple or Baja Blast, green blue. Then cards you would put in if you think you'll see more of that, as the meta changes. Because I've noticed recently all the Blurple decks no longer running Iago. So maybe if there's less Iago, there might be less like Hypnotic Strength or Helping Hands, and then your illusion characters might be safer because they have less removal for that, and then maybe you as a Purple Steel don't need to run as many actions to target those Iagos that no longer exist, So like calls like that. And then like he talks about Hypnotic Strength versus Fire the Cannons. He talks about like Treasure Guardian versus Dolores, Dumbo versus Isma. And so I'm trying to figure out what combo of cards I like. And what else? I did briefly try to see if Peter Pan Shadow could be in a deck because I really like that card, but there's not enough fresh cards anymore. What I really need would be the other one, Peter Pan Shadow Finder, but I don't think he's legal anymore. So, yeah. And then I think floating around, I have seen some Diggy Hole versions of Purple Steel, which kind of bring me back. So, late set 5, like the last set champs of set 5, I played a Purple Steel Diggy Hole, and I liked it. And then, of course, whenever I play Purple Steel, I'm always trying to incorporate in the Robin Hood shift or Tinkerbell shift. I don't think they're good right now, unfortunately, especially not in Purple Steel. And so, I don't know. I've at least, okay, so at least on the plus side, I've decided on a deck. On the minus side, I have no idea what this deck will consist of, which is very, I think, frustrating for Brian because he likes to sleeve cards, first of all, and we do have cool new sleeves because I bought a bunch from Dual Spec, which are our new favorite sleeves. And they just released, okay, I'm going to talk about this later, but they just released holographic sleeves. Anyways, focus. Okay, so he likes to sleeve cards, and he's always like, what's your deck? I'll build it so then we can play paper, right? And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what I want in my deck. I know I want the core package, so Diablo, Captain Hook, Genie, Elsa. But I also really like having Belle. I also like having Lilo, and obviously Strength is in there. But there's so many cards that I want in the deck, and they don't all fit. So I I am looking at a bunch of Purple Steel decks, and I feel like I'm kind of trying to combine them and in turn making all of them worse, as I usually do. And so I'm trying to just test different ones to see which one I like the best. And of course, like how much I like a deck depends on what deck I'm playing against. So what build I might like for one against one matchup is definitely not the same as another one. So it's kind of hard to figure out what is the best overall. And I think our local meta, I'll definitely see Blurple, which is a tough matchup. I'll definitely see Amber Steel. I'll probably see Green Blue. And so I feel like those are the ones I have to make sure I am prepared for. Green, yellow, I'm not sure if I'll see that. I mean, probably. And then I feel like in our area, there's always like a rogue deck or two here. And there's always a deck that's not like the standard deck. And there's something that takes me by surprise. But the staples will definitely be there. And so now is working on honing down what exactly is my deck. Okay, so that is where I am in terms of prepping for set champs. And then what else? Oh, the Dual Spec. So Dual Spec released these holographic birthstone sleeves. I think they called them birthstone to get around making them ink colors, although I guess technically there's no ruby. Instead, they have pink and orange. And then so they have obviously yellow and pink orange instead of red. They have purple, they have green, blue, and they have gray. And then they also have these white opal ones, which are just like rainbow ones. And so we bought like one of each of all of them. And then I bought like an extra of the ones that I thought we would for sure like. Although it's kind of hard to tell on the picture as it is with all holographic things. And so, yeah, that is a purchase that I'm waiting for to come in. Oh, the shop is now open again. I did recently open. Oh, okay. So while my friend was over, the one I went to Disneyland with, I taught her to play Lorcana. We played Jafar Heist. We played on both the easy and the normal, and we beat Jafar. Take that, Jafar. And I feel like she picked up the game pretty fast. And then we played each of the decks that came in the Jafar Heist. And then I gave her some like starter decks and a link to the online client. And she helped me open up cards. And it turns out maybe I don't have any luck anymore. So we ended up opening a total of 2 cases. And I think she opened up maybe like 3 boxes worth. And all of the enchanteds were in her box. She pulled a power line and a Pongo enchanted. So our rate is still about 1 per case, which is what it's supposed to be. Still no sign of any iconics, but at least it was better than last time. And out of the 2 cases of cards, we got 2 Dumbos, ridiculously low pull rate. So then I had to go buy some on TCG Player just to make sure we have a play set for Set Champs. Oh, I should probably take that into consideration. Make sure we have enough Dumbos. I think within the team we'll have enough for like 2 to 3 decks worth of playsets of Dumbos. So we should be fine. And hopefully, it seems like this time there's a lot less Set Champs. And they're also cheaper this time. So I don't know what's happening there. But I'm kind of treating Set Champs this time as just practice for Milwaukee. And I'm going to actually practice. I feel like prior to Denver, I did not practice nearly enough. So I'm putting a little pause on my matte foiling. I'm going to try to put a little pause there to practice more. And we'll see if that makes a difference. Because with Purple Steel, I'm definitely going to have to practice a lot. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys are playing for Set Champs. Am I crazy for playing Purple Steel? Also, how do I get rid of this no turn 2 ramp curse? Because I feel like probably next set it might come up again where I want to play a ramp deck. And if I'm still cursed, like, who do I pray to? Do I need to light some incense? What do I need to do to get rid of this no ramp curse? It started in last set with River cursing me, but that only lasted while I played River, so it was fine. And then it continues this set, and I don't know why. It seems worse for everybody. It seems like, based on my experience at Denver, maybe Denver is cursed, but based on my little testing online, it's not true. I think this deck is cursed or something. But it seemed like everybody was having trouble with turn 2 ramp at Denver. And it's the same amount of ramp that was in the Shark deck, and yet with the Shark deck, there was never this issue. So I don't know what it is, but we got to figure out how to shake it. And so, yeah, that is it for me. I am going to now Google or on YouTube Purple Steel Fabled to see if there are any guides or helpful hints or gameplay of Purple Steel so that I can watch and learn and practice and read and reread JDRR's guide, and probably will join the Discord. So to join the Discord for JDR, you have to be a Patreon member. That's not the right word. A Metafy member. And so I will probably do that because I need all the help I can get. So that is it for me. Look at me, new Purple Steel player, as they wear my popsicle necklace. And as always, keep shuffling. Hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables. And if you're playing a ramp deck, I hope you get turn 2 ramp. Okay, all right, bye.